Have you ever heard of people, the way it's often said is quote unquote charging crystals or charging water to make moon water or to bless and consecrate crystals in the full moon? Well, here is what that actually means and why you might want to do this top layer of spiritual work. Spoiler alert, once you hear this, hopefully you will recognize and realize that the full moon is not the only time you can do this type of work with water or crystals. Just putting that out there. Crystals, for example, are taken by people that work with them often and put in the light of the full moon. Now, this can be outside if it is a type of crystal that's not porous, because remember, at night in most places it gets a little damp, or yeah, that's when moisture creeps in, and some crystals are not safe around water. They need to stay dry. They're more porous. Selenite is one of those, which is a working moonstone, actually, like Selene, we talked about last time from Greek mythology. So, most practitioners will actually put their stones or crystals in a place that is actually inside. So, if you have a table that's near a window, or sometimes people have like a little mud room or a little front porch area that's a little more protected from the elements. But the truth is, they don't even have to be directly under the light of the full moon, because we're all in the energy of the full moon, even if, like, it's a cloudy night or it's a storm, or you don't happen to have a window that faces the side that the moon is on. And the other thing I always like to mention when I talk about working with the moon is we always think about the moon at night, which, of course, is when, especially the full moon, is most visible and most beautiful. But the moon is available during the day. She is there. Have you ever gone outside, especially at the full moon, and seen like a full moon in the clear blue daytime sky? I definitely have. So you can do this also in a daytime if that's just what works better for your schedule. This should fit with you and feel easy and fun. So, many people find it beneficial to put the crystals in this moonlight so that it clears the energy from the crystal, kind of an energetic washing of the energy to release and bless and be refilled by the moon energy. Because often people are working with crystals, right? So the full moon light can provide an energy reset, for example. Crystals absorb energy from their environments. So if you have a crystal just hanging out in your office or your home, it does absorb energy from the happenings around it. Some people actually work with crystals in their work, either by wearing them themselves or placing them on or around other people. And they do pick up or absorb that energy. So putting them in the full moonlight can kind of do a cosmic reset, a clearing, a washing of that energy from those stagnant emotional vibrations that linger in the stones themselves. And it can be crystals like we think. If you're watching the video version, I've got a really beautiful crystal on my desk behind me, but it could also be just regular stones. Most of you know by now, if you've been here for any length of time, I don't just love crystals. I also love like different usual and unusual stones, like little rocks that I have found across my path along the course of my life. If you do any type of work or holding with them, even if it's like a pocket stone, you can clear that energy under the light of the full moon. Nothing bad will happen if you don't, just reminding you. Another reason that you might want to put crystals in the full moonlight is amplification, because the moon represents the highest energetic peak of the full lunar cycle when it's the full moon, which a lot of practitioners believe kind of supercharges the crystal's natural metaphysical properties. So, most crystals, if you look them up on Google or if you've been here and we've talked about them, they have specific properties that they are known or thought to support with in our own work and human experience. And while it will clear the stagnant energy or the emotional people energy out of the crystal, it also kind of again magnifies and returns them to full strength of their own qualities that they represent in that specific stone. So it's a lot of fun to work with them. And another thing you can do with that energy of the full moonlight is like aligning the crystals or stones to your particular intention. So the full moon can really charge crystals, not just with their own energy, but with a specific intention. Maybe it's that you're trying to complete something and you're wanting to come to completion. Maybe it's about illumination and more wisdom coming to light for you, or really working with trying to be very connected to be aware for your intuition when it's nudging in. You can put those intentions either just like by holding the stone in your hand and saying or putting your emotion of that intention, or you can even write it on a little paper and put the crystal or stone on top in the full moonlight, and that will charge it with that intention. So that is why people do it with crystals. Why do they do it with water and create what is known as moon water? It can amplify intentions. Often, when someone is making moon water, you'll put a little jar of water. It could be anything from like a completely sealed bottle of bottled water, depending how long you're going to keep this water, to just like a little jar, whatever you have of water, depending how you're going to use it. If you're going to drink it, you want drinking water, obviously, I would hope. But there are so many things you could do with this infused water. So some people, when they work with the full moon water, want just the energy that the full moon represents. And as another layer to that, they also will sometimes see like what sign the moon is in every month. As the moon moves around the sky and around our calendar, the moon is in a different sign. So for example, we not long ago, as I'm recording this, I think the last full moon we had several weeks ago was in Aquarius. I could be wrong. That could have been the new moon, but let's just use Aquarius. You can infuse it with the full moon and qualities of Aquarius. So, being about the community, forward thinking, advances in technology, bringing people together, clear communication for the benefit of all. So, depending on what work you're wanting to do, you can infuse intentions into the water, and then that moonlight, the full moonlight, will amplify those intentions in the water. So it can be the moon itself, right? The energy of like coming forward and being expressive and being fully seen and being bright and gratitude and all of those qualities. Or it can be also coupled with the sign that the moon is in, or also your own personal intentions. It can be emotional cleansing because the moon governs and rules the water and emotions. Full moon water is created often specifically to assist in emotional release, for example, or washing away what's not serving us, or helping us recognize those emotions we're not willing to see so that we can do the work we need to do and release them. So, depending on what kind of vibe, if you will, of moon water is what your intentions or what you're charging it with. And then how you use the moon water. Obviously, if it is open, you would want to refrigerate it if you're going to be drinking it, but people will use it to water their plants and get the blessings. People will kind of put a couple drops in tea or soup or anything you're cooking. Really, you could put a couple drops of drinking water in. You can use it to put a couple drops in a spiritual bath, for example, or even in your shower water or your face washing water or in your lotion that you're putting on your body. So there are a million and one ways to use moon water if it feels fun and exciting to you. I know most of you have seen or heard of these type of practices, so we're going to go into some other varieties in just a minute, but I wanted to address these because I feel like they're so commonly talked about, and I see YouTube videos telling people to do these things all the time without giving any explanation as to like why and what are you doing with this. And the thing with moon water is a little bit goes a long way, because if you think about if you had a cup of clear water and you dropped one drop of blue dye in that water, it's going to turn the whole cup into blue water, right? Same with moon water. You only need a drop or two and it will infuse that whole whatever you're putting it into with that energy, those intentions. So just know, and it can also be done in other spiritual work. If you're someone that does any kind of prayer work or work with candles, you can kind of anoint candles that way. If you do crystal grids, let me know if you want more deep dives into any of these topics. These are all things that I love doing in my own work. But I know it's a little outside of mediumship. So just let me know what you guys want. But you can use it in just about any way, get creative. And a little pro tip here, because of the way that moon water works, most practitioners believe it's not advisable to charge or clear moon water or crystals in the eclipse moon energy. We've got some eclipses coming up. We are in eclipse season as I'm recording this, and certainly when it releases and beyond. So, just a little pro tip, most practitioners do not recommend charging moon water or crystals in eclipse moon energy. Why? This energy is thought to be more chaotic, less stable, essentially. So, while I do believe that it is okay to use eclipse energy for certain purposes, it's not technically the traditional use or the way most people would use moon water or crystals in a practice. It's typically thought of as like, don't do it in the eclipse energy. So, do with that what you will. Now, while these ways of working with moon water and crystals under the full moon are both very supportive, again, today we're going to go beyond these techniques and go even deeper into ways that you can harness the full moon energy for your life, your advancement, your spiritual gifts growth, your personal development, just like we did for part one in the new moon, which if you missed it, I will link it in the show notes. It should be just the episode before this one. And there's so much value to working with the new moon. But we're going to dive into a similar menu of options for the full moon from 3 angles: supporting your physical body, supporting your emotional body, and supporting your spiritual body. And quick reminder, while the energy is strongest in a different way or most present in our visible sight line at the full moon, the energy is always present for a couple days before and a couple days after the actual date of the moon. So if it doesn't fit in your schedule to do this on the exact day of the full moon, you could do it a couple days before or after. The moon is very forgiving, and there's no pressure of how to work with this. So first, I want to go into something expansive for your physical body. Where the new moon asked you to become quiet and go within and nurture your body in the stillness, the full moon really asks the opposite. It asks for movement and shaking things up and shaking things loose, right? So it's an outward expression with your physical body to really bring in this moon energy. So part of a full moon movement ritual that you could consider is putting on some music that makes you want to move in whatever way your body is capable and able, in whatever way feels good and natural. Just let your body do whatever it wants. For if there's no like choreography, there's no doing it right. Dancing, swaying, shaking, kind of ecstatic dance, shaking your arms, your shoulders. This is more about somatic release, releasing energy and emotion through the movement of your physical body and allowing your physical body to discharge whatever it's been holding, the same way the full moon is asking everything to come to the surface to be released. I will tell you the version of this one that I like to do, and I do it quite often, actually, sometimes more than once a month. And the truth is, this movement will release a lot of energy. And then there is some time that we do need to cognitively process or process in our emotions. But this really gets the energy moving and gets the some of the really tight or necessary energy discharged. So I'll say it that way for you. What I personally like to do is really pick some music that is, for me, I call it more like expressive dance. I'm using that term loosely to all my trained dancers out there. Expressive dance. I like music that really connects into my emotions. So I have a few different playlists that I use for this. It's really fun and can be energizing to do this music with any kind of like primal drumming, like drum beats, or even like drum and bass. I'm a drum and bass girly. So if you love drum and bass, that's a wonderful time to use that type of music. It can be music that connects to your childhood or to connects to loved ones that really just helps you move your emotions. Music for me, and I know for a lot of us, really touches a different place in my emotions that is beyond words. And then I just move my body as it wants to move. Sometimes it's with the music and sometimes it's not with the music at all, to be honest. So it really is just whatever feels right to you in any given experience of this. And it could be different every single time you do it. You could use different music and explore different types of music, different tempo of music, fast or slow, some with a lot of drum and bass, some with more airy and flowing music, right? It's totally up to you and what feels good to you. And it could be different every time. So sometimes you will feel the emotions actually lighting up in you, in your body somewhere, and rising to the surface. And then the motion of your body helps to discharge them. This can be, again, anything from challenging emotions to emotions of love, gratitude, or even just the fullness of the human experience kind of running over inside of you, spilling out from within you. And you just let it move by moving whatever parts of your body feel good to move in whatever way you're able.